to Invest Insights. I'm Abby Maloney. I'm joined today by Mark Jaronski, the Deputy Commissioner for Explore Georgia. Mark, thank you so much for being with me today.
Thank you, Abby.
Today, we're going to be looking at how the tourism and hospitality industries have been forever changed by the pandemic and this new normal that we find ourselves in with new ways of strategizing, new ways of operating business, new safety measures. But before we go there, I wanted to ask you, what are some new personal norms that you started during the pandemic that you know you're going to carry with you in this post-pandemic landscape?
I think I've tried to reduce my sugar count. I think there was two ways you could have probably dealt with spending more time indoors. For me, it was an opportunity to think about eating healthier, and that's the approach that I took.
Last month, Explore Georgia supported the tourism industry recovery with over $2 million in marketing grants and co-op funding. Outside the access to extra capital, what other resources are the tourism and hospitality focused businesses in need of to fully recover from the challenges of the pandemic? And how is your organization aiding in fulfilling these needs?
Sure. Well, let me start off by saying that, like other industries, tourism was impacted in both supply and demand, right? So let's talk about demand for a second. Spring of 2020, COVID brought the tourism industry to a standstill practically overnight. In the months that followed, the impact on our industry was 10 times greater than September 11th. Here in Georgia, and that's nationally. Here in Georgia, travel spending was down $12 billion, 81,000 hardworking Georgians lost their jobs. You see a lot of headlines about people returning to the skies and traveling across Georgia, and it's true, we're in a better position than most states, but I think it's easy to overlook just how impactful this was. But thanks to the leadership of Governor Kemp and our General Assembly, our industry was given the license to operate and serve our customers. As demand returned, is when we started to see some of the supply side issues. Namely cash flow and workforce challenges. It's higher costs to operate safely, as you would imagine. And without full revenue, there was less money to market. So Governor Kemp recommended, he saw this need, he recommended $1 million in his amended budget. And as you say, we took that and we combined it with our own cost savings here within our tourism office, because there were some things we were unable to do due to COVID. And we put $2 million into the marketplace to help our partners across the state with tourism recovery.
With the lessons that have been learned through handling the challenges of the pandemic, how should businesses, both within the hospitality and tourism sectors, be engaged in their own business development to better connect with clients and customers?
Sure. I'll offer two ways. One ageless and one more modern. At the start, it's customer service. And while customer service has been around forever, I'll give you a recent story that illustrates this point. I spoke with an industry peer yesterday who's in the convention business. The convention business, still has a long way to go to return to full recovery. As we talked about it a minute ago, leisure has started to come back. But the professional meetings and hosting and attending of professional meetings and events is still deeply depressed. Other segments of the business like international are non-existent right now with the borders being closed. That all plays into our larger travel ecosystem. But this individual, his business is doing better than most on the convention side. And he credits that to just the engagement that they've had with their customers, his team has had with their customers. When he says, their competitors were scrambling over the last year and they were a little harder to get a hold of. Just like on the leisure side, there are groups that are meeting, and there is a market that's out there. So just good old basic customer service put this individual and his business in a competitive advantage over others. The more modern example I'll use is just the use of marketing technology. While that's not new, the adoption of marketing technology by the consumer has certainly accelerated during the pandemic. When so many of us were forced to spend more time indoors than ever before, we turned to technology to keep us connected to the outside world. And as marketers, we have the ability to really use the digital space to be very targeted, to be very flexible at a time like now. And I don't see that going backwards as we move forward.
In the age of influencers, what is the key to keeping traditional marketing competitive for the hospitality and tourism focused industries?
Well, there's no one size fits all visitor profile. People travel for various reasons. They can consume information in various ways. We'll give you a couple examples. We have roughly 10 million users of our website, but at the same time, we have 13 million travelers who stop at our visitor information centers located across the state every year. So, I'm not saying that there's not any overlap. Obviously, there are people who use our website and also stop at our visitor information center, but I've always been amazed when I've been at the visitor information centers, how many people still ask for maps, printed maps,
Yep.
Right? Not everyone's using Google. Not everyone is using their device to, and their GPS on their device to get
They
around.
also make a great souvenir.
I'm sorry?
They also make a great souvenir and keepsake.
Maps do make a great souvenir. So, it just goes to show you that that traditional marketing is still an opportunity. For most businesses, there is a variety of consumers, and you have to understand, how they engage with your product or service, how best to reach them, and to kind of meet them where they are. That's certainly what we do from a destination marketing standpoint on behalf of the state. And ironically, just when you think you've got it all figured out, something like COVID comes in and upends everything and
Yes.
forces people to behave a little bit differently than they traditionally would.
And now that we find ourselves in this new normal, what's next for Explore Georgia and the tourism and hospitality sectors in general?
Well, I think in the short run, at least, there's some things that won't soon go away, right? This focus on health and safety, hopefully there's been a lot of success with the vaccines, and hopefully that we will continue to turn the corner on what has been a very difficult year and a half for people around the world, understandably and obviously. But at the same time, I can't believe that health and safety won't continue to be a focus. Clearly, safety in particular was something that was very important to our industry and to many industries, just given the impact that safety has on people's lives and livelihoods. But I think the way that people think about health in particular and health and safety going forward will certainly be shaped by this time that we've just gone through. I think COVID and the pandemic has forced businesses and in the tourism industry and others to understand how to be efficient with both costs and with labor. And I think those are experiences that people will learn from and will try to adopt in a long term, even when not forced to be as efficient with their cost structure. And then maybe a simple example that kind of wraps a few of those themes together is these QR codes that we see everywhere now, both at our local restaurant and the restaurants that we're able to experience when we're on a road trip or on a vacation. I will tell you, before COVID, I didn't realize that you could still use a QR code without having to download an app.
Yep.
And now, they're everywhere, and I could see them. You think about all those things we just talked about, from health and safety to cost savings and efficiency. I think QR codes are here to stay for for some time, and people will use them, to sort of reinvent their business in a small way, but create a better experience, and add to a more efficient, more prosperous business model for themselves.
Well, wonderful. Thank you again. That's Mark Jaronski, the Deputy Commissioner for Explore Georgia. My name is Abby Maloney, and you've been watching Invest Insights. Mark, thank you again.
Thank you, Abby.
Hey everyone, don't forget to like this video and subscribe to our channel so that you can stay up to date on the latest business trends from our knowledgeable experts. Be sure to check out the description below for more information on the segment you just watched. Thanks for tuning in.